A lot of people are referring me to Mendo. I like Mendo. I think Mendo's a really cool dude. He's been playing a lot of Omen recently. I think that's cool. I like Omen. I like Mendo. We're gonna watch Mendo's gameplay. I do want to preface this with, it seems like I mentioned this earlier. It seems like Mendo is probably still relatively new to Omen, and that's kind of like hinted at by the fact that he's like experimenting a lot throughout this replay. He's trying different smokes. It looks like he's kind of like putting them in different spots, trying to do like interesting one ways and stuff. That being said, though, I think that you can learn a lot from just watching players like Mendo. He's just a very strong player in general. He understands the game and he plays it at a very high level. So I think that his understanding of Omen is a very good example of how you should play Omen within your games. And a lot of people are rolling into ranked games right now and they're thinking, well, how I'm playing Omen. King said in his last video, I shouldn't be playing Omen aggressively. So what am I supposed to be doing? This is a very good example of what you can be doing with Omen without having to like yeet yourself into the enemy team all the time. In this game particularly, so we went over a Cloud9 game in the past, and that was when Relix was playing Omen. Relix was playing Omen in that game with a Brimstone on his team, so his role was a little bit different. In this scenario, Mendo is the solo controller on the team, so it is his obligation to throw these smokes and his obligation to support his team, and you'll see him adjust based off of that. So we're actually going to roll into this. I have it timestamped right here. We're going to get into it. I'm excited. I left a couple comments on these rounds. So I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to do these like replay reviews, especially for these players when they do them on their streams, because I have to like skip around a bit. I'm not sure if there's like an easier way to do this necessarily. But we're gonna skip through and figure it out, okay? So bear with me here. Round 0-0. Nice, love it, sweet. Something I want to comment on here is that he actually he understands that it's your obligation as Omen, basically. If your team is going to be pushing A, you are the person to smoke heaven, right? It is the easiest for Omen to smoke heaven versus like any other character in the game. Brimstone can do it pretty easily. It's difficult for Viper to do, and it's difficult for a character like Jet to do. So for an Omen to do it, it's like very simple, right? And notice right here, I talked over the comms here.
5 sounds good.
He makes this call out. He gets the pick A.
You guys want to go B?
And he's lurking over here right now.
I'll smoke C-Link for you guys.
Notice he goes to smoke C-Link for his team, who's all the way in mid. They're pushing mid here. This isn't being effective as a lurk, but he also smokes C-Link particularly instead of A, just because he gets this pick here on A. The likelihood that there are 2 players over here, which funny enough, there actually is 2 players over here, is a lot lower, right? He gets the pick on that one person here. There's actually Sage and Sova playing over here, but that means that there's still 2 players probably C, right? So these 2 guys coming in here, they're going to either come from C-Link or they're going to come from middle. So he drops the smoke here. This is what I'm assuming. Just to negate like what those 2 players would possibly be able to do here. The likelihood that there's one player over here, maybe the Sage, and the likelihood that there's more people over here, that's generally why you would probably go for that smoke right there. I just think that's like an interesting use of the smokes right there. It's not very flashy, right? But it's a very just like quality example of how Omen can be effective as a lurk and helping out his team. We're gonna skip forward here a couple rounds. So that was the first round there, round 1. We're gonna skip up to round 3-0 right now. This game is relatively a stomp, by the way. I do want to point out that when they're playing against this enemy team, I don't think that this team that they're playing against are necessarily like crazy pro players or anything. It seemed like one of the guys I know was in his chat. It seems like they're maybe like an aspiring like team, like they're trying to figure out their comms and everything like that. I don't know if this is necessarily Mendo's team either. We're basically just focusing on the way that Mendo does lead his team in this way though, and how he is effective in actually beating the enemy team. For Mendo's Omen is a really good example of how he can be used in place of Brimstone. Like I said earlier, there's no Brimstone in this game, so he is the solo controller right here. In the last video, we talked about Relics and how you played Omen with a Brimstone, and it's a little bit different how he's going to play them. A lot of the times they would use their smokes to like fake out pushes and stuff like that. In this game, Mendo's playing it a little bit different, right? And he's kind of leading his team in this way. Notice they're pushing up A here. They're trying to figure out what they're doing. He goes for the wallbang there just to clear that corner. He goes for the smoke on Heaven. Like I said, this is his responsibility to smoke that initially when they're coming in. Lands the smoke. There's a guy right here. Notice he does go for the wallbangs too. You don't need to necessarily see the target to be able to shoot them. A lot of the people are like going to wait for that race to peek around the corner. He just goes straight for the wallbang right there. His smoke's going to fade at that point. The Sage slow does land, so he doesn't really need to resmoke it. And then he goes for the smoke at CT.
Save your wall, it's expensive.
The call on the utility as well. He tells the Sage to like save her wall. You don't want people to overuse utility. And this is when he sees that there are 2 people playing B. His teammate gets picked on B. He lines up here for this flash right here. You don't need to use this flash to serve yourself. Look, it just benefits this Phoenix coming in here. If that Phoenix had peeked this corner and there's a lot of people there, it could have easily blinded those 2 targets. That Phoenix could have easily gotten a double, right? I don't know why he threw that smoke. He's done this a couple times throughout this game where he just randomly throws a smoke late into the round. I don't know what purpose that smoke fills. Maybe Mo can help me out with that. I think he was kind of just throwing it out there, like yeeting it out, which is entirely possible. But that's just a very quality round. He drops the smokes. It's very standard, right? He's not doing anything crazy. He's not throwing himself into the enemy team. He blinds for the Phoenix and everything. Like, he played that very standard as far as like a controller would, right? And I think that's awesome. I think there's no problem with that. A lot of people think that they have this pressure to make these plays or do these crazy teleports and stuff. That was just very standard. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yo, I want to do something really bad, right? Come take my op, BCJ. I want you to take my op. You got post here. I'm gonna smoke like right here, right? And I'm gonna ult here, so the side guy might swing out and try to.
I think they get wrecked on this round. I don't actually remember what happens. I think they get wrecked on this round. I don't have any notes for it, so I just kind of want to watch this. So they see the guy close left, right?
Okay, fuck. I'll walk up on him, I think.
There's the blind.
Alright, we got
That Cypher trap goes down.
Still. After that.
Trade me again, I can ult out. Trade me again, I can ult out.
Okay, sure.
Going back.
I don't know what's going on. Oh no, he runs into the trap. Loses his copy. They're going for trades. I hate all of this. I hate everything about this point. He does go for the ulti. This is actually smart. I don't know if you could. I thought you could pick up the bomb while you're in that copy right there. And I think that he thought the same thing, right? Like, I think that he's like relatively new to Omen, like I said. So I think that's what he was going for there. And it's just like, I love the way that people think. You know, these players think. You'll notice that Mendo does a lot of different things when he's playing a character that he's new with. That a lot of players might not do. This is unrated. This is what it's for, right? This is like these are scrims actually, but
I'm posted on log. That's it.
the game is not like professional right now, right? This is the opportunity for them to try dumb shit and just try to see if it works, right? Try to figure out new strats. He goes for a lot of different one ways and stuff. He tries to see if he can actually go for these plays, these interesting plays and stuff, just to see what the character is actually capable of. And I really do like that. Another thing that you'll see a lot of pro players will do is they'll load into custom games and they'll just test these things. So they'll test out different wall bang locations, how they can throw like Viper smokes and stuff like that, different walls that they can throw as Viper, different Sova darts, different recon bolts and stuff like that. As Omen, you can do different smokes, different one ways and everything. You can find different blind locations, like just different teleport spots. There's a lot of different things that you can do with these characters throughout these games. I think that's like really interesting. Notice the team comms too. This doesn't sound like a normal like game. It's because he's playing with people that he knows, right? And he's in a call with them. But just like the communication, they're talking back and forth. They're talking about what they're comfortable with and what they're not comfortable with. That is completely freaking awesome. Like just like the communication here. You don't see this against like at a lower rank games, and that's why lower rank players are oftentimes worse. It's because of their communication a lot of the times. Notice he gets tagged by this drone right here, and he preps the teleport just in case the Sova ultis him. He doesn't use it because this teleport is very valuable to him. He only gets 2 of them, right? If the Sova had ulted him though, he was prepared to teleport out, which is nice. It's a very smart decision. And right here, I'm gonna back it up just a little bit because I think that it's really relevant. It's a little bit more subtle if you don't notice it, right? He's just aiming this down right here. But particularly, he is aiming this down as the Phoenix goes for the wall. And right after the wall goes down, you'll see that this Phoenix or the Sova peaks, and he's able to get the kill on the Sova. If that Phoenix had thrown his wall and then the Sova peaked and he wasn't aiming that down, that Phoenix was dead. His teammate was completely dead. Now he goes for this blind here. There's a lot of stuff going on, so I'm going to rewind it just again here, just so I can get it in. He gets killed by the Cypher on the left, right? They were doubling up C.
I can flash him. Wait, don't peek, don't peek.
He makes the comm for his teammate not to peek. He's gonna throw this flash. How many times have you seen a silver player just like they just throw their flash? And they don't care if they blind their teammate. They don't care what they do, dude. They just throw it out there, completely full blind their teammate. Then their teammate goes for while their teammate's going for the peek. Now they're both like blinded. It's just like a toss up and everything. It's just like he made the comms. He communicated. He used his words to tell his teammate, hold on, play it slow. I'm back up. I'm gonna throw this blind. We're gonna blind him. Then we're gonna swing it. Right? They swings it. He gets the pick here. It's such a jam-packed round. I actually really love this round. He's aiming this down. Throws his smoke there. He's throwing out both of his smokes here. These are 2 really good smokes. Smokes off the entrances for the site. And once that Sage Slow lands, he actually uses his blind to catch them off guard. With this Sage Slow, she probably thinks that she's safe to push out here, right? She comes out. She hears the Omen TP. That's why she's looking up, you know? But he didn't teleport on top of that box. He teleported back site. She doesn't quite see him. She's like very confused. I think that she probably should have killed him there, but she was very confused just in the moment. And a lot of the times that will happen with Omen. A lot of people think that his TP is obvious. You don't. It's not as obvious as you think a lot of the times.
I want you to go long.
He gets the final kill here. This one's not crazy special. Noticed that she wasn't peeking through CT there. He decided that he was probably gonna go long. And then he checked garage, and she was supposed to check garage. But that was more of a timing thing than anything. I think that was a really good round there. And again, I think that this is a very good example of how somebody can play Omen more as a support. He is the controller for the team. There's no Brimstone here. There's no Viper here to like compensate. He is the solo controller. and he's doing a very good job of like just being helpful for his team, being useful. He's not necessarily doing crazy lurk strategies right now, although he could be. That's what we looked at in the last video. This one's a really good example of just a solid Omen player. So right here is a really good example of just like classic Omen.
I got your sight.
He's just the support Omen right here. He's watching the guy. He has the operator. Op's a good weapon for Omen too for this reason. He can just be that support guy, and he can play it back, and he can throw his smokes and be helpful from afar, right? He sees the Omen or the Phoenix pushing in. The Phoenix did wall it, but he drops both of his smokes here on the entrances, and he actually throws his blind here as well. All of this is just going to cover this entire right half of the site, and this is going to block these sight lines for them. You just see one CT right there. But anybody who's playing this half of the site too, they're also going to get blinded right here. This is just really helpful. Like there's just that utility right there. He didn't need to go for these crazy TPs and play aggressively, right? He had that impact from just sitting back there. That's awesome. So we're gonna go ahead to round 7-0. They're gonna win this round. They probably shouldn't.
Actually, because they have moments when they're
Okay.
not good. I'm posted sight.
I slowed it. You needed me.
So this round's really gonna exemplify just like quick decision making. You'll see a lot of players will get caught in this position. This is a terrible position for them to be in. Look at this. They're like pinned between here. Like they're getting shot at. They got the raise rocket and everything. Sage goes for the wall there, and he calls for him to get res because he has his ulti, right?
Give me bomb, and I'm gonna fake TP, right? And I want you to run back, and then I'm gonna come back right here.
Notice their plan right there. That was his plan. He just communicated the plan. But immediately after he communicates the plan, there's the breach ulti. The plan changed. The plan has clearly changed, right? The fake TP is not coming. That breach is coming straight for him, right? So he makes the decision to ult over on A very quickly. Very quick decision making. That Sage is still playing over there. They still have a problem with the Sage. They want to kind of take her out. He actually goes for this TP into heaven. I don't know why they messed around with the Sage for so long. They probably should have just like quick rotated. And what does he do here? When you're playing in this situation, it is a 3v1 right now, and he has the bomb down. Obviously, he's going to get hard pushed right here, right? What he needs to do is what he's doing right now. He needs to play this aggressively. So what he does is he actually pushes up into their spawn. He teleports into heaven, which is like people get caught off guard when a player's playing heaven, and he plays this aggressively, looking for a pick right here. Weirdly enough, nobody pushes him. I don't know what the enemy team was doing here. I don't think that he probably should have won this round. However, this is how he should have played it, right? This is exactly how he should have played this round. You notice they go for the site. They go for the defuse. He's just really confused. He doesn't really know what did just happen. I don't really know exactly. But like, he played that round exactly how he should have, right? Because the hypothetical is, if you'll see a lot of players who go for stuff like this, and then instead of playing it aggressively, what they'll do is they'll sit back and they'll wait for the entire enemy team to get to them. If you're gonna just sit in a corner and wait for the 3v1 to come to you, you're not gonna win, right? Instead, what you should do is you should push up and you should try to catch people off guard in this situation. A lot of the times, that's why you'll see me teleport heaven, and I'll try to get behind them and stuff like that. I had a really good play just literally like an hour or two ago, where I teleported heaven, and then I heard both of them rotate through CT, so I pushed aggressively behind them. And I attacked them from CT, which is awesome because they just came from CT. They already cleared it. They know that it's clear, right? But when they enter the site, they're thinking, okay, well, maybe he's heaven, maybe he's long, maybe he's short, right? They already cleared CT. I'm CT now. I got behind him, you know? And it's actually like that kind of mind games and that kind of like aggressive play that you want to do in these situations when you are outnumbered. I think this is a really good example of that. I see players go long with op and bombs planted there. Yeah, they could do. Honestly, they could go long if they wanted to play aggressively, but like here's the situation, right? They have the op. They go long. There's 3v1. That player gets pushed 3v1 while they have their op long. The bomb's down, yeah, right? But like one person tries to defuse it, the other two watch for him. It's like you're not. It's gonna be really hard to win that. It's gonna be really difficult. Rather than you play it aggressively, you get one pick, you back up. Now it's a 1v2. They know where you are, but you can reposition with your TP and stuff like that. It's like puts a lot more pressure on them. Okay, so this round's gonna be 11-2. Oh, this is the last round I have comment on. And this one's just a fun round to watch. Okay. So Mendo actually doesn't do anything crazy with Omen right here. I think he goes for something cool that I'm going to comment on, but it's just Mendo being Mendo here, and it's fun to watch. Okay, so I thought it would be a good round to end on. He's kind of just messing around with smokes. He does this a lot throughout the course of the game. This is what makes me think that he's probably relatively new to Omen, is that he's just trying to like figure out like a good spots for him to self to smoke. So he's just kind of like looking at the map, just trying to figure out, okay, what should I do right here?
Going on one way.
He goes for a one-way smoke right here. This is what it is. It's a temporary one-way. Basically, the logic right here, right, is with a standard one-way, what you're going to do is you're going to throw this and it's going to stick on a structure, right? And then players are going to not be able to, like, see through it, right? So if you do a one-way right here, I can't find it. There we go. Like that one, for example. That's going to sit on that window pane. They're not going to be able to see through that very easily. Like, they might crouch in the window or something like that, but it's just going to be very weird for them, right? That's it. That's like a legit one-way. That's just a one-way right there. But if I come over here and I'll throw the same one way that he tried to do, this one's going to be a temporary one way, meaning that this one, it's only a one way for the reasoning that it's going to fall, right? It's not going to be there the entire time. So you'll throw this smoke. And when it's right around there, that's when it's going to block these enemies' visions. I've never actually accurately used this thing. Like, I've never effectively used it within a game. However, the logic is there that when you throw the smoke, it'll appear for like a brief second. And if they're pushing this or if they're anywhere around there, that one's probably a little bit high. But when you peek that, if they're standing right there, they're not going to be able to see you. They're not going to be able to see you at all. There's going to be a freaking smoke in their way, right? And you can go for that peek and you can actually kill them. This is what he goes for. He doesn't get a kill off of it, but it still looks cool. You know, that's what he's going for. That's like the whole mentality of thinking of these plays and thinking of these interesting things that you can do. And he does go for it. Doesn't work out, but it's not that big a deal. He's not really punished for it, right? He's just down one smoke. Now he's playing this position right here in this corner. This is just Mendo popping off.
Nice.
Watch your long, watch your long.
Look at that flick right there. Or that transfer. Oh. And he gets the freaking ace. Mendo's so good. That transfer is like really strong. Oh my gosh. It's just like, he's just so on it. I try to get good at knowing like when I'm hitting my targets and when they should be like dying, right?
Nice.
This just comes down to like game knowledge and playing a lot. Like he knows that this Cypher's gonna die in that bullet, so he switches. He immediately transfers, right? And it works out well for him. I don't know why he ADS'd. Oh, I wonder if he ADS'd because he was hit by the breach thing.
Back one. Nice. One more.
One enemy remaining.
I bet that did actually. That's interesting. So when he gets hit by the breach thing, it slows his fire rate anyway, and he's using a bulldog, right? I wonder if it still burst fires.
Back one. Nice. One more.
That's actually really cool.
Enemy remaining.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's just a cool round to watch. I just really enjoy that. So Mendo does really well in this game. And he actually does end up talking to these guys after the game because they're like his friends, right? And his friends were having a little bit of a dispute within the game itself. So I'm gonna actually pull up their conversation and like the things that he commented on that we kind of went over throughout the game and just like his take on it. I think that you can have an effect on the game and you can be very useful with just like your use of utility, and that's kind of what Mendo kind of exemplified within this game, right? He was just the support character and he threw a lot of smokes for people. He threw a lot of his blinds through the wall to help out people, and like I showed you a couple of rounds, but he's been doing this throughout the games that I've watched him, right? He uses his blind as a support tool because that's what Omen is, right? And I think that he plays a very strong Omen in this game.
Also, as a team, I think we need to recognize that we are more than ourselves. We have our utility, but you also have my utility.
Right.
So I can, if you're
GG Sneaky, we'll
peeking
find an
something and
opportunity
you
for
feel
sure
cornered,
sometime.
I have a flash. I can get you out of that situation, and I can get you a kill.
I think a good
easily.
step, Sneaky,
That-
watch
I've seen that a
watch
couple
how
times where
I
I'll say,
approach
I'll
the
have-
game.
I
Watch
have
the game on my
flash, so
VOD. Watch my VOD on that game and see how I
never
rotate, right? Where I
inquire
smoke
about
and
it,
win,
want
stuff
it,
like
use
that.
it,
And
then
try to really think about why.
try and die.
So there's two conversations going on right there. I think Mendo's talking to his chat, but the guy that he played against is talking about how they need to recognize that they are more than just themselves. They are within a team game, right? And if you watch myself play, or if you're watching Mendo play, you'll notice that he uses a lot of utility for other players. So he uses like his blind for that Phoenix in the situation that we went over. That's really awesome. He's not just saving that for himself. He recognizes that like I am more than myself right now, right? Or this game is like more than myself. Oftentimes you'll see me use smokes to get players out of positions that they're kind of caught in, right? If you're stuck in a corner or if my teammates are fighting somebody, I will start responding by throwing a smoke in that direction. If my teammates are getting hard pushed, I will throw a smoke for them to help bail themselves out, right? You should always be thinking more so, you want to know what you can do for yourself, right? But you want to know what you can do for your teammates as well if you want to be a really strong team player. And I think that's what a thing that a lot of players don't do within this game. That like it really sets them apart from these pro players who are always thinking, what am I doing right now, and what more could I be doing? How could I be more beneficial to the game as a whole, rather than just like where I am, you know? And that's something that you're gonna run into a lot with like lurk players, for example. And Omen is a lurk character. If you're lurking and you're not getting a lot accomplished, you might want to start thinking, okay, my benefit is not good here. How can I be more beneficial to my team? Like, what can I do that'll help my team a little bit more? If you're playing poorly, think, okay, well, what could I do in this situation where I could help my team? You don't need to be top frag every single game. You don't need to be popping off every single game. But you got to figure out the way that you can be helpful to your team. I think that's something that he does really well here. But that's going to do it for this review. If you guys watch this, I know everybody's on YouTube right now, but when we upload this, we're going to upload this as probably a actual video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel down below. Freaking love your faces. Subscribe to me, or don't follow me on Twitch. Do the Discord thing. I'm so bad at outros. I love your faces. Okay? Freaking do your thing, dude. Okay? Aside from that, yeah. Sweet. I'm going to play some ranked, I think.